Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Luis swings, lines it into right field, a base hit. Laura charging, has the great arm. Here's the throw to the plate. Sanchez is tagged. He's safe. Padres walk it off. Sanchez had to put the tag down on a throw that was slightly high. And Song got underneath the tag as Luis Campusano wins it. And in 11, the Padres complete the sweep 4-3.
One of the moments of the season, one of the wins of the year, and certainly one of the series of the year for the San Diego Padres as they beat the Milwaukee Brewers in a wild one on a Wednesday afternoon here in downtown San Diego. The final score, the Padres 4 and the Brewers 3 as Luis Campusano wins it on a walk-off single. Padres have won 5 in a row. They sweep the team with the best record in baseball this week here at Petco Park. Sam Levitt with you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show as we begin our post-game coverage. I caught up with Luis Campusano on the field moments ago.
Luis, one of the biggest wins this team has had all season, one of the biggest swings this team has had all season. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, great. I'm just glad, we came with the win and, on to the next.
2 strikes on you, tough pitcher on the mound. What was your approach when you got to 2 strikes?
Oh, the same as usual from let's get a good pitch to hit. If it's not early, it's late, but just finding a good pitch to hit and do something with it.
This was a back and forth battle into extra innings. So often this team has found ways to win games like this. What did it take today in particular?
It took everybody. Off the bench, honestly, from the start, from the pitching, from just all of what you saw today. And, that's what just kept us in and, just having faith and just believing in what we do and just trusting the process and going out there and just doing our thing.
Luis, you've had such an impact this season. What has been the biggest difference now that we're getting into the second half of the year?
Oh, Craig's been great, man. I think just the opportunity that they've given me to, just play and show who I am has meant a lot for me and, the team. But just to be out here every day, is a blessing. And I'm just grateful for, all the moments that, they're given.
Finally, you were behind the plate when Adrian Morahone got out of that big jam to keep it a 1-run game. That guy, he just continues to pull Houdini acts, get out of big situations.
Yeah, man, he's gross, man. I mean, the changeup's been like just something different, as of lately. But, it's really nice to see, one of our guys like that just to, keep doing this thing and just posting up for us and just holding those runs for us.
Luis, congratulations on a great win, an amazing moment. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was Luis Campusano just moments after his walk-off hit in the 11th inning. The Padres beat the Brewers 4-3 to sweep this 3-game series. They've won 5 in a row. They complete a 5-1 homestand against a couple of good teams in the Astros and the Brew Crew, and the Padres now hit the road for a 6-game road trip beginning in Cleveland on Friday. Much more to do on our post-game coverage. When we come back, we'll recap what was a really back and forth, grinded out kind of game, grinded out kind of win that took contributions from all over the Padres roster today. We'll hear from Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Padres win it in walk-off fashion 4-3 on this Wednesday. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Upgrade your home to the
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score, the Padres win it 4-3 against the Brewers in walk-off fashion as they sweep this three-game series. One of the most memorable games of the season, no doubt about it. It was a doozy, a long one here today at Petco Park. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, need a little me time? Jamul Spa was just named one of the top 100 spas in America. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Man, we got a lot to break down here. Let's get to it.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, it seems like it was about a week ago, but we did have a good starting pitching matchup today. Left-hander Robbie Ray against right-hander Dustin May on the mound for Milwaukee. Both pitchers began the day with a scoreless opening frame. Ray got the first two outs of the second, but then it was Gary Sanchez.
Here's Gary Sanchez. He swings at the first pitch, hammers it to left field, way back and gone. Just under the first balcony of the Western Metal Building. And Gary Sanchez, who loved to hit home runs, in the Padre uniform, hits one here, his 10th of the season, and the Brewers go up 1-0 in the second.
Brewers led 1-0 going to the third. Ray issued a one-out walk to Joey Ortiz. He was on second base with 2 men away for Bryce Terang.
And Terang swings, hits it on the ground. That's through the left side of the base hit. Ortiz rounding third on his way. Merrill bobbles it. Now it gets behind him. The run is scored. Terang's rounding second. He's going to get all the way over to third base. And the Brewers lead it 2-0.
Padres trail 2-0 going bottom three. Xander Bogaerts put the Padres on the board.
And Xander gets a hanging breaking ball, hits it in the air, deep to left field, way back, and gone. A home run. Xander Bogaerts gets loose, his 10th of the year. And the Pods are on the board. It's 2-1 here in the third.
The score would stay 2-1 for a while. Brewers had big chances to add on. Ray walked the first two batters in the fourth inning, but he bounced back to retire the next three in a row. Milwaukee then had a runner on second base with nobody out in the fifth inning against Bradley Rodriguez. They did not score. The problem was the Padres were not doing much against Dustin May. They loaded the bases against him in the fourth inning, in large part due to an error, but they didn't score. May then retired the side in order in the fifth and sixth innings. Jeremiah Estrada pitched a scoreless top of the seventh. May retired the side in order again in the bottom half of the inning. Kyle Hart came on for the top of the eighth inning. Padres still down just 2-1. He pitched a scoreless inning. Bottom eight, May back to work. Again, Padres down just 2-1 still. It had been that score for a while. May issued a leadoff walk to Gavin Sheets. That was it for May. Right-hander Chad Patrick came in for Milwaukee. He got a double play ball from Xander Bogaerts. Fernando Tatis Jr. then pinch hit for Freddie Fermin. Tatis walked. He stole second to put the tying run in scoring position. Luis Rengifo then worked a tremendous 9-pitch plate appearance. He walked to put two on base. So with the left-handed hitting, Jake Cronenworth coming up and runners on first and second, Pat Murphy, Brewer manager, went to left-hander Aaron Ashby to face Cronenworth. Cronenworth fell behind 1 and 2, but in typical Jake fashion, he battled. It went to a full count and pitch number 9 of the confrontation.
Here's pitch 9 to Cronenworth, and Jake swings, bounces it to first. Bowers off the line, has it, race to the bag, not in time. Fernando coming home, he'll score. The game is tied. Tatis never stopped running, and Bowers, the first baseman, couldn't beat Cronenworth to first. By the time he looked home, Fernando was there. There will be no challenge. It's 2-2.
Cronenworth doing a great job battling through that at bat. He put it in play, and then Fernando doing Fernando things, racing around third base to score the tying run. We were tied at 2. A wild pitch then moved the runners to second and third. Manny Machado grounded out to end the inning. We had a 2-2 game going to the ninth inning. Mason Miller came on. He issued a one-out walk to David Hamilton. Hamilton stole second. Joey Ortiz then walked, but Miller predictably got out of the inning. 2-2 game going bottom 9. Jackson Merrill hit a one-out double against Ashby. Brewer closer right-hander Trevor McGill came in. He got 2 outs to end the inning, including retiring Jace Bowen, who nearly won the game on a ball down the line. It was ruled foul just to the left of the third base bag. And then Garrett Mitchell made a diving catch in center to rob Bowen of a hit. and that ended the inning. So that sent us to extra innings. Adrian Morahone came in. Padres threw out the Brewers' automatic runner in Bryce Terang trying to steal third base. Morahone got out of the inning to keep the score at 2-2. Padres then left two stranded in the bottom half of the 10th inning against McGill. So still a 2-2 game going to the 11th. Pinch runner G1 Bay replaced William Contreras at second base for Milwaukee. The former Padre Gary Sanchez led off the inning.
Morahone will deliver, and this pitch hit hard and fair up the third baseline. That's going to roll into the left field corner. Bay going to score easily as Rengifo digs it out, sends it in. And how about Gary Sanchez? An RBI double here in the 11th as the Brewers go back ahead. It's 3-2.
So a 3-2 Brewer lead. Keep in mind, at this point, still nobody out. Brewers then put two runners on, but Morahone struck out David Hamilton for the first out. He struck out Joey Ortiz for out number 2. Padres then walked Jackson Churio to load the bases. That brought up Bryce Terang. Morahone struck him out. A great job by Adrian Morahone. He did give up the unearned run, but he kept the score at 3-2, kept the Padres down by 1. Bottom 11, Padres turn at the plate. Jake Cronenworth, the Padres' automatic runner at second base. Manny Machado grounded out to shortstop, but on that play, Cronenworth crossed the third, so the tying run 90 feet away. Ty France was then hit by a pitch. Sung Moon Song replaced Ty France as the pinch runner at first base. So the Padres had runners at first and third, the tying run on third with one out. Jackson Merrill at the plate against the right-hander for Milwaukee, the former Rocky, Antonio Senzatella.
Jackson swings, lines it to right field. Lara going back, still going back, jumps up, makes the catch. Cronenworth will tag and score to tie it, but Lara with a great play in right to force Song back to first base. Either way, 3-3 here in the 11th.
So a 3-3 game. Song still on second base, on first base with two outs. Song then stole second. That would end up being very, very huge as Luis Campusano dug in, a chance to win it in the bottom half of the 11th.
Luis swings, lines it into right field, a base hit. Lara charging, has the great arm. Here's the throw to the plate. Sanchez is tagged, he's safe. Padres walk it off. Sanchez had to put the tag down on a throw that was slightly high, and Song got underneath the tag as Luis Campusano wins it. And in 11, the Padres complete the sweep 4-3.
An absolutely wild win to sweep the Milwaukee Brewers. Final score in 11. As Jesse said, Padres 4 and the Brewers 3. A wild game in 11 innings that saw just 12 combined hits between these two teams. There were 3 errors between these two teams. The Padres have won 5 in a row. They improved to 65 and 57. Milwaukee drops to 74 and 47. Padres continue to play an excellent brand of baseball. The Padres have now won 15 of their last 19 games. And oh, by the way, the Diamondbacks and Phillies both lost earlier today, so the Padres have jumped ahead of Philly and Arizona. They now hold the second wild card spot alone in the National League. Padres had to use 5 different relievers in this game to cover 7 innings. They had to use 4 guys off their bench, but the Padres continue to simply find a way to win. They beat the Brew Crew 4-3 in 11. When we come back, we'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. That comes your way from Petco Park after this.
We'll be right back to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the broadcast booth here at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. What a wild win here today. Padres walk it off on the Milwaukee Brewers by a final of 4-3. Luis Campusano wins it. What a moment for Campy. RBI single in the bottom half of the 11th inning. The Padres trailed most of the day. They found a way to scratch across a run in the 8th inning to tie it at 2. Then they trailed 3-2, going bottom 11. They tie it on a sac fly by Jackson Merrill. Luis Campusano wins it with a walk-off single. Padres sweep the Brewers, the team with the best record in baseball. Padres have won 5 in a row, and they are rolling. And what a job of the Padre bullpen. I mean, this says it all right here. The Padres used 5 relievers in this game to cover 7 innings. They gave up 3 hits and 1 unearned run, the automatic runner scoring for Milwaukee in the top of the 11th inning. And by the way, the story from the Brewer perspective in this game, 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position, 13 left on base. They had opportunities all afternoon long to tack on. Even in the 11th inning, they had another run on third base with nobody out after they took the lead, couldn't get it in, and the Padres absolutely made the Brewers pay in this series. Not just today with the left on base and the runners in scoring position, but the Padres made the Brewers pay in this series for mistakes. You think about the 8th inning, the pitcher Ashby not getting over to cover quickly enough, and then Bowers not being able to get to first base, making the flip to Ashby anyway. Fernando Tatis Jr. never stops running. There were a ton of mental and physical errors this week by the Brewers, and I'll tell you what, the way they played this week, this did not look like the team with the best record in baseball. I'm just going to tell you that. They did not look that way this week. It was sloppy. There were tons of errors. And even the ABS challenges today, using them early, getting them wrong, really cost them. But to the Padres' credit, they took full advantage in this series. It seems like when the Brewers made mistakes in this series, so often the Padres made them pay. Let's go downstairs, hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
There was just so much crammed in that game, like missed opportunities, incredible plays, heads-up plays, good pitching, and then to come out on top of that. What was that like?
Yeah, great baseball game. Exhausting, from my perspective, a little brain buster, but those are the games you live for. That's why we signed up for, and that's what makes playing this game so amazing, especially when you come out on the good end of it. But our guys dug deep, bullpen dug deep. The guys in the lineup found a way to figure it out to score some runs, and we walked them off.
The play in the 8th that got you guys to the extras there, the hustle by your 2 guys, but there's probably not a better guy to have on second than Tatis if something like that's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. If you could put anybody out there on second base, him and Jace Bowen maybe, or 2 speedsters. And then, Fernando just has the instincts also to round it and just head for home. And, great hustle by Jake getting down the line. He just took advantage of a ground ball where the lefty pitcher, he's not falling off towards first base. And so he hustled it out, and huge play in the game, gave us a chance in extras, and then things kind of went our way.
They had some chances, and every time they had some chances, your bullpen seemed to find a way out of it. What do you make of the job the bullpen did, and specifically Morihone once he had already given up the lead to keep it where it was?
Yeah, exactly. I think, the way the bullpen pitched was pretty amazing. We've been talking about how good they've been all year, but we've been using them a lot. And so it's not like they're the freshest guys in the world right now, but they're digging deep and making a ton of great pitches when it really matters. And, they're making great pitches the whole time, but when, they get that guy in scoring position, they are bearing down. And they're making great pitches, and honestly, it was why we won the game today.
I know you're one day at a time, but this is the end of a stretch with, I think, 26 and 27, and it went like 4.5 hours, and you can finally exhale ahead of tomorrow's off day.
Yeah.
What do you make of the way you have navigated that stretch? You added a couple pitchers, obviously, throughout it, but you had to kind of dig deep in the pitching staff.
Yeah, comparing it to the 17 games, prior to the All-Star break where we were 17 in a row, we finished both of those time periods playing really good baseball, and we didn't succumb to the man, we played so many in a row. We're tired. We're worn out. It's invigorated us, and it's showed us like we can handle about anything. And I think the struggles we had early in the year, probably helped us in these moments too. And then also the part of where we are in the standings. We really don't have the fortune to, take it easy. We've got to get after it. And the way the players are responding to that, the way they're treating each other, the way they're caring about each other in the dugout, in the bullpen, in the clubhouse is a big reason why they've been able to energize themselves through this streak of a lot of games.
Dustin May's been pretty good against you guys this year. It seems like he's pitched a little tiny different each time. What did he do today?
Yeah, I think he's getting better. He's just a pitcher that's getting better. You see him, different times. When he first came up, he was just a huge sinker and a big sweeper. And now he's adding a cutter in, and he's able to throw a four-seamer with that. He's got a bunch of pitches in his repertoire, and today he threw a bunch of strikes. I think the only time we can really, get to him is when he's a little bit erratic, and a lot of erratic in the strike zone, but he just wasn't that today. He pretty much mowed us down, and we just hung in there just enough to be able to have a chance.
What did you see out of Robbie? And obviously when you took him out, you knew what you were putting your bullpen for, and with the day off tomorrow, you felt pretty good about it, obviously. But the way that you navigated the game after he left as well.
Yeah, I think, having the day off on the back end is a big reason why, Robbie could have probably won another inning. He was definitely struggling with command a little bit, walked those two guys in the fourth inning, and then really bared down. It was almost just like our bullpen, struck two guys out and then got the last guy, got him out. So I felt like he expended a lot of energy in that last inning. It was close to 30 pitches in that inning. If we send him back out, we're going to have somebody getting loose anyway. So I just felt like we had a rested bullpen from yesterday. We could go to him. I wasn't expecting to go deep in the game as we were, but the off day tomorrow is definitely going to help that.
There was a time Freddie could not get an ABS call right. Now he can't get one wrong. He got you 3 Ks today. Do you think that had anything to do with him being rattled too? Or
yeah, I hope not. I mean, we're playing him, so we think he's healthy. We believe he's healthy. Sometimes the player's not always going to tell you the truth. We don't think he did that. We took care of him as best we can. But I think him learning the ABS system as we go is helpful. And I think both these catchers, like the first thing you want to fight for a pitch. They're used to framing pitches and fooling the umpire into calling a strike. And I think the ABS has changed that to where you can't fool the umpire anymore. It's got to be a strike. And I think they're learning that you can't, make a ball a strike anymore. It's got to be a strike. And I think they're taking advantage of that.
You're uniquely qualified to talk about Campy and his growth and just the fact, like, what's it like for you to see him have this type of season and these type of moments?
Yeah, exactly. I think there was a time period where we weren't putting him in late in games, or we were a little worried about it, and we were trying to hold his hand through some of those times. And rightly so. He was young and coming up, and he was a really offensive catcher, and we had to help him out on defense. But I think his confidence has grown throughout the season. Once he got a few hits early in the year, it was like, oh, yeah, I am a good big league hitter. And that's kind of carried on. And now the catching side is catching up to the offense. And, him being able to throw that guy out at third, in extra innings was huge. And then a walk-off hit, he kind of showed his complete game today.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 4-3 win in 11 over the Brewers. It took nearly everybody to get it done here today, and I'm sure very happy Craig Stammen getting on that flight. His team playing incredibly well right now as the Padres sweep the Brewers in this 3-game series. When we come back, get into our daily awards, we'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit as well. Luis Campusano wins it on a walk-off single in the 11th. The Padres beat the Brew Crew 4-3. Our post-game coverage continues from downtown San Diego after this.
Jack Murphy believed San Diego could become something special. He fought for Major League Baseball, championed local families, and celebrated our military, and reminded everyone what made San Diego different. At Hyundai of El Cajon,
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the Brewers 3 as the Padres walk it off in the bottom half of the 11th inning. Luis Campusano winning it as the Padres sweep the Brewers, the team that came into this series with the best record in baseball. And quite frankly, you wouldn't know it with the way the Padres beat them over the course of this 3-game series. Each win a little bit different. The Monday win, Jackson Merrill, the late home run yesterday, a super complete offensive showcase with the Rengifo Grand Slam, the 3 home runs in that game. And here today, this was just really a doozy. I mean, talk about a grinded out kind of game that went to extra innings, that was back and forth, that really required every bit of your roster, and the Padres found a way to get it done to beat the Brewers in extras here today. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game. Brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
There are so many options to choose from here. The two that stand out to me, and again, just for perspective, the Padres bullpen today combined for 7 innings of work after Robbie Ray went 4 innings in this game. And they were very aggressive, Craig Stammen was, with their bullpen today, with the off day tomorrow, and you understood it. They chased this win, and in the long run of the game, it really worked. I mean, because the bullpen was stellar. Bradley Rodriguez, 2 scoreless innings. He's certainly a candidate for this. Estrada, scoreless 7th inning. Hart, scoreless 8th inning. Miller gets out of a jam in the 9th inning to keep it tied. And then you have Adrian Morejon. And I'm going to give relief pitcher of the game today to Adrian, even though he was the lone guy out of the bullpen that gave up a run. But it was unearned because it was the automatic runner that scored in the 11th inning on the Gary Sanchez double. The reason I think it's got to be Morejon today, number one, he pitches a scoreless 10th inning to keep it tied at 2. And even after he gives up the Sanchez double to give the Brewers a 3-2 lead, Sanchez goes to third base on a wild pitch. So in that spot, the Brewers have another critical run, potential run, 90 feet away from scoring with nobody out. He ends up walking Garrett Mitchell to put runners on first and third. He strikes out David Hamilton for out number 1. Garrett Mitchell then steals second base. He strikes out Joey Ortiz for out number 2. They intentionally walk Jackson Chourio to load the bases, and he strikes out Bryce Terang to end the inning and get out of that thing with the Padres still down by only 1. Make no mistake about it, even though Morejon gave up the go-ahead run, that was a magnificent job by Adrian Morejon in that 11th inning. Getting out of that jam, getting out of a situation with another potential run on third base and nobody out. And then 2 in scoring position and 1 out, and then the base is loaded. I mean, that was Adrian Morejon, right? That's what he does. And that was enormous in this game. I don't care that he gave up the unearned run. Him getting out of that thing, getting out of that top of the inning with 1 run given up was massive in this game. And for that reason, Adrian Morejon, our relief pitcher of the game. Let's talk about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health Medical Group.
Part of the order here today, actually a really quiet day for Manny out of the 3 spot. He was 0 for 5. Ty France had a couple of singles in this game out of the cleanup spot. Jackson Merrill did have a double in this game. He also drove in the tying run in the 11th inning with the sac fly. Almost got it over Luis Lara's head in right field to win the game, but the sac fly did tie it. So, productive day for France, 2 hits. Merrill had the double and a big sac fly to tie the game in the 11th inning. Certainly with just a foot or 2 more on the line drive, could have been a game-winning hit. But big plate appearance there for Merrill, and that's a look at what the 3, 4, 5 spots Machado, France, and Merrill did in today's game. When we come back, we take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, play of the game, wrap things up, get you ready for the upcoming road trip beginning in Cleveland on Friday. Padres win it in 11, 4-3 on the Padres Radio Network.
Keep it locked to the Jamul Casino.
ZipRecruiter, get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter. That's ZipRecruiter.com/team.
ZipRecruiter.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building. Actually, I'm not inside the loft. I'm inside the broadcast booth here at Petco Park. See, I'm so used to saying the loft, it just came right out of my mouth. I'm not in the loft. Not that you care. Nobody would be in there by this point anyway, but I am technically, for those of you watching on YouTube, inside the booth here at Petco Park. Final score here today in 11, Padres 4 and the Brewers 3 as Luis Campusano wins it on a walk-off single in the bottom half of the 11th inning. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
All right, we're going to run through these quickly today because we got to flip you over to today's edition of Gwynn and Chris. Games going on right now. Guardians ahead of the Tigers 6-3 in Detroit in the 7th inning. Marlins lead the Pirates 8-2 in Miami in the 7th inning. Cubs ahead of the Nationals 9-4 in D.C. in the 6th. Mariners lead the Yankees 5-3 in New York in the 5th inning. Red Sox and the Blue Jays are tied at 1 in the 6th inning in Toronto. Braves lead the Mets 3-1 in Atlanta in the 7th. White Sox lead the Reds 1-0 in Chicago in the 5th inning. Finals today. Twins beat the Orioles 7-5 in Minnesota. Cardinals beat the Phillies 7-1 in St. Louis. Rays beat the A's 8-4 in Sacramento. Rockies 6, D-backs 4 in Arizona. Astros 2, Giants 1 in San Francisco. And we have 2 games yet to begin. Rangers and the Angels in Anaheim at 7 p.m. Royals and the Dodgers in L.A. at 7:10. And that is a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday. So where do things stand at the end of today as far as the wild card picture? Well, good news for the Padres. They've done a great job as of late. They've picked up a ton of ground, and they are rewarded for it, especially today. They win, D-backs lose, Phillies lose. So the Padres now sit alone in the National League's second wild card spot. The D-backs and Phillies now tied for the final wild card spot. So that's some significant news there. Padres winning 5 in a row, winning 15 of their last 19 games, and they have vaulted into the second wild card spot in the National League. Well, what a game this was here today. Padres trailed 2-1 most of the afternoon. They found a way to scratch across a run in the 8th inning on that wild play with Fernando Tatis Jr. at second base, Jake Cronenworth hitting a ground ball to first base after a 9-pitch at bat. That was after Luis Rengifo had worked a 9-pitch walk. The plate appearance prior, just 2 incredible turns at bat for the Padres in that sequence. Cronenworth grounds one to first base. Jake Bauers can't get over in time. Ashby doesn't cover in time. Flips it to Ashby anyway. Jake beats it out. Fernando ends up scoring all the way from second base to tie the game at 2. We were still tied at 2 going to the 11th inning. Brewers got a go-ahead run on a Gary Sanchez RBI double, but then Adrian Morejon got out of the inning to keep the game at a 1-run deficit. Bottom of the 11th inning, Jackson Merrill sac fly to tie the game at 3, but still, the Padres would have a runner on second base, the winning run and pinch runner Sung Moon Song. Luis Campusano at the plate with a chance to win it, and Campy provided today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Luis swings, lines it into right field, a base hit. Laura charging, has the great arm. Here's the throw to the plate. Sanchez is tagged. He's safe. Padres walk it off. Sanchez had to put the tag down on a throw that was slightly high. And Song got underneath the tag as Luis Campusano wins it. And in 11, the Padres complete the sweep 4-3.
What an incredible finish here at Petco Park today. What a year it's been for Luis Campusano, especially considering what he went through last season, and he wins it. Probably his moment as a San Diego Padre to this point. What a win. Padres win it 4-3 in 11. It was a grinded out kind of game. Again, the Padres had to use 5 relievers in this game to cover 7 innings. They had to use 4 guys off their bench, Song, Campusano, Bowen, Tatis, and they just simply found a way. They sweep the Brewers, the team that came into this series with the best record in all of baseball. Padres have won 5 in a row, and now they take the show on the road to Cleveland, Ohio, where they begin a 3-game series on Friday. We'll preview that game for you in just a moment. But as always, a reminder, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. A look ahead to Friday series opener of a 6-game road trip to Cleveland and New York. Padres will take on the Guardians and the New York Mets. First pitch on Friday at 4:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage will begin at 3:10. Pitching matchup on Friday, right-hander Michael King on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Gavin Williams on the mound for Cleveland. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the free Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. A look at the final totals here today for the Padres against the Brewers, and Matt Scraby, who's doing a great job back in our studio. Scrabe, I'm going to just text you something here in a second, because Scraby's doing a great job filling in. Scraby, I just texted you something just so you know how we're going to go about the procedure here. I'm sorry, folks. That wasn't the smoothest radio element in the world, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do here. All right, final totals here today for the Padres. 4 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. For Milwaukee, 3 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. Padres left on 8 in this game. The Brewers left on 13 in this game in 11 innings. The winning pitcher here today was Adrian Morejon, who improves to 9-2. Losing pitcher Antonio Senzatella, who drops to 9-4. Time of game, a long one at 3 hours and 46 minutes. And the crowd at Petco Park on this Wednesday afternoon, 36,072. Once again, first pitch in Cleveland on Friday at 4:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 3:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinators, Jeff Hamby and Matt Scraby tonight, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score in 11. The Padres walk it off. They sweep the Brew Crew. The San Diego Padres 4 and the Milwaukee Brewers 3. Today's edition of Quinn and Chris coming up next.
Thanks for joining us for the Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show. For the best coverage of the San Diego Padres, stay tuned to San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The